if you remember, in previous lecture we had seen that slave dynasty started from 1206 after death of Gauri, and after Gauri's death we had 3 slaves which divided the land, and then amongst those 3 slaves, Qutbuddin Aibak became the ruler of India at that point of time. So he declared his independence. So this slave dynasty is also known as Mamluk dynasty. Slave dynasty is also known as Mamluk dynasty. Why is it called Mamluk? That we have discussed earlier also. Mamluks were warrior slaves, and they were given education, and they got all the chances to rise up in hierarchy. So it's an Arabic term for slaves, and there were different type of slaves. Okay? Household slaves were ghulams, and warrior slaves were Mamluks. Okay? They were trained like warriors. So after 1206, 3 dynasties were established. One, Qutbi dynasty. Qutbi dynasty was founded by Qutbuddin Aibak. Then Ilbari dynasty, after Qutbuddin, the next king who came to throne was Iltutmish, and from Iltutmish, the Ilbari term has been taken. Basically, Ilbari was the tribe from which Iltutmish was belonging. Okay, so it was founded by Iltutmish. And then there was second Ilbari dynasty, and that was founded by Balban. So Balban was not directly related, there was no blood relation between Balban and Iltutmish, but then he became the ruler in slave dynasty. So you see that 3 dynasties have ruled in case of slave dynasty from 1206 to 1290. So almost 84 years, slave dynasty has ruled. There have been several kings. Not all the kings are important. Okay, so we'll be giving some of the kings, and we'll be talking only about the important kings. If we talk about Qutbuddin Aibak, there is a very interesting story about him. Qutbuddin, as you can see, this person, he was not exactly a charming looking prince material. Qutbuddin was a slave as a boy, and he was being sold in a market. He was young at that point of time. It's a very interesting legend about Qutbuddin which I'm telling you. We don't know whether it is historically correct or not. So there was this small boy, and he was sitting in the slave market. His hands were tied with a rope, and he was tied with a cage, and he was sitting there, and one fakir was going. Okay. And he saw that slave boy. He looked at him, and he smiled, and he said that one day you are going to become a king. There was one more person in the market who was walking, who heard this thing, and he laughed at the fakir. He was like, how can you say that he is going to become a king? Look at this ugly kid. And he was like that you are restricted only to the face of this kid. I can see beyond, and I know, when I look at him, I know that he is going to become a king someday. So that person, in order to insult that fakir, he was like that, I'm going to buy this boy. I'll buy him, and then I'll make him my slave. I'll make him my ghulam. And then let's see what will happen to him. And that person was a businessman. So that person bought this kid. Finally that person died, and the son of that person, then he got that slave. So once the slave is bought by a family, then he will remain a slave in that. The son of that person, when he got this Qutbuddin as a slave, he had very good relations with Gauri. So he gave this boy to Gauri as a gift. When Gauri got this gift, Gauri realized, initially he was a ghulam, household slave, but the way he was catching up things, this ghulam was catching up things, he was good at learning, he was good at grasping things. Gauri realized that this boy has got a lot of potential, and he is not a material for ghulam, he should be a mamluk. So Gauri sent him for education. So he was educated in statecraft, and he was turned into a warrior. And when he turned into a warrior, he rose up in the ranks very, very quickly because of his able administration. And finally, he became one of the top slaves of Gauri, one of the favorites. And after death of Gauri, he founded the slave dynasty in India. Okay. So he was appointed as governor in Indian possessions. And then he set up his military headquarters at Indraprasth. Indraprasth was the city near Delhi. So Delhi has been built, has been destroyed several times with several names. So Indraprastha was a place close to Delhi. So in the lifetime of Gauri, he raised a strong army and hold over North India. In the 4 or 5 years in which he ruled, he got a very, very strong hold over India. Gauri died. Aibak declared his independence. And when confusion wo dimag mein Qutbuddin chal raha tha. So during the lifetime of Ghori, he had attained a lot of area, and then that passed to Aibak when Ghori died in 1206. Then he broke all connections with the kingdom of Ghori. He broke all connections with the kingdom of Ghori means that he declared his independence, but he was loyal to his master. He declared himself Sultan of slave dynasty, Mamluk dynasty. Okay. And he started Delhi Sultanate. Now he had become Sultan, but he never said himself that he is an independent Sultan. And his coins were minted on the name of Ghori. He did not mint the coin on his name. The coins never said Qutbuddin. He always minted the coins in the name of Ghori. So after that he made Lahore his capital, and then his rule lasted for 4 years. He is also known as Lakh Baksh. Lakh Baksh means Baksh dena, giver, charity. Okay. So Lakh Baksh means that giver of lakhs. So because of his liberal donations, he used to give a lot of charity, and that's why he was called Lakh Baksh. As far as art and culture of his time is concerned, he built Quwwatul Islam Mosque. Quwwatul Islam Mosque is the first mosque which is built in Delhi. So Quwwatul Islam Mosque, if you look at the structure, it was initially a Jain temple. Then that Jain temple was broken, and over that a Hindu temple was made. And then that Hindu temple was broken, and over that this Quwwatul Islam Mosque is made. So it's the same structure almost. If you look at the pillars, they have the old sculptures of the temple. It was basically turned into a mosque. It was not built from the base. Then he made a 2.5 din ka jhopda mosque in Ajmer. Then he started construction of Qutub Minar. Qutub Minar is not on the name of Qutbuddin Aibak. This you need to understand. Many of the students are confused because it is called Qutub Minar. They think because Qutbuddin Aibak started its construction, that's why it's on his name. No. It is on the name of a Sufi saint called Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Okay? So, in the memory of Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, the Qutub Minar was started. So it was started by Qutbuddin Aibak, then he died, and then Iltutmish took forward the construction. Then he died suddenly while playing Chaugan. Chaugan was horse polo, okay? And horse polo was played by Afghans a lot, Afghans and Turks a lot. So while playing horse polo, he fell from his horse, and because of the injuries, he passed away. Then his successor was Aram Baksh. Then Aram Baksh, as the name suggests, Aram wala aadmi hoga. He was pretty chilled out. He was not liked by the people, and then Iltutmish, he replaced Aram Baksh and then took over the throne. So Iltutmish becomes the second important king of Delhi Sultanate. Shamsuddin Iltutmish, so from 1211 to 1236. So pretty long tenure for a king. So he belonged to Ilbari tribe, and that's why the tribe is called Ilbari. It's called the Ilbari dynasty. Aibak bought him and made him son-in-law. These two are independent events. He bought him first, then he became Mamluk, he trained, he became governor, he became very strong, and then Aibak made him the son-in-law, married his daughter to Iltutmish. Aisa nahi hai that he was bought so that Qutbuddin Aibak can marry his daughter. Okay? So he was appointed as Iqtidar of Gwalior. Iqtidar means Iqta was a unit of land, a provincial unit. Iqtidar means the governor of that Iqta. That is called Iqtidar. Jaise in ancient India we were discussing about Pati. Similarly, Dar will come. Zamindar, owner of Zameen, Zamindar. Owner of Iqta, Iqtidar. Owner of Shik, Shikdar. Okay. So in 1211 he defeated Aram Baksh and he became Sultan, and then he shifted the capital from Lahore to Delhi. So initially the capital of Qutbuddin was Lahore, and Iltutmish shifted the capital to Delhi. Now this can also be a question in order to create the confusion. For example, we say Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate started by slave dynasty, and it was started by Qutbuddin Aibak. So immediately students get this in their head that just because the name is Delhi Sultanate, the first capital of Delhi Sultanate would be Delhi. But that's not right. The first capital of slave dynasty, it was Lahore, and then it was shifted to Delhi by Iltutmish. So it is also said in history that the real establishment of Delhi Sultanate was done by Iltutmish rather than Qutbuddin Aibak. So in first 10 years, he focused on securing his throne from rivals because he had come to the throne after defeating Aram Baksh. There were many contenders in this because there were many slaves, there were many strong slaves and governors who wanted to get to the throne. So initially it used to be very, very difficult for a king, for a new king, to maintain his throne, to establish his authority. Otherwise somebody would come and kill him and then take the throne. He was made successful, he became very, very successful because of his Mongol policy. Okay. Mongols were Central Asians, Genghis Khan and his brothers later. So they moved from Central Asia, from China, and they went to Central Asia to Persia, and then they went to Saudi Arabia, Iraq. And whatever came in their path, they kept on destroying. They used to take this destruction. Genghis Khan was a Chinese, and Khan means ruler. Khan means the leader of an army. That was the title. Okay, that was Khan means head of something. So Genghis Khan or Genghis Khan, the way we write it in English, at that point of time in China and in Central Asia, people used to be scared of lightning. So they did not fight during rainfall, because if there is rainfall and if there is lightning, they thought that the god is angry with them, and they used to hide themselves. So they used to hide their faces. Lightning aa rahi hai, hamare hi sar pe, it is going to fall. So they were very scared. Genghis Khan, as a child, he had a very abusive kind of childhood. So when he became older, he became very aggressive. And he became very brave. He became brave because a child who faces a lot of adversities, right in the beginning, after some time the fear goes out. वो एक डायलॉग है ना कि किसी को इतना मत डराओ कि वो डरना ही छोड़ जाए, भूल जाए. ठीक है, मैरीकॉम दैट मूवी के उसका डायलॉग. Same thing happened to him. Initially he was so scared that after that he realized that what is going to happen to me? What's the final destination? I'm going to die anyway. So let's be fearless. So he became fearless. And when he became fearless from everything and anything. So from lightning, from nature, anything that was going on, he became fearless with that. So he built an army, small unit of soldiers who were dedicated to him. And he trained those soldiers. They were extremely loyal to him. Then he started this warfare. They used to take this band of soldiers. He was a nomad, he did not have a kingdom. He used to move from one place to another, invade and annex, and then move forward. So he was moving, and in his first battle, he had a very small army. And he was fighting against the Chinese army, one Chinese battalion. And he specifically chose the day which was very cloudy. And he knew how the Chinese soldiers are going to behave. Because that was the case in both the armies. If there was lightning, both the armies used to lie down or bow down and not see and stop fighting. Genghis Khan was prepared for that. So he started the battle. And initially he saw that he is losing. Because his battalion was very small and Chinese battalion was very big, very large. So his soldiers, when they started fighting, there was lightning and started raining. The moment there was lightning, those soldiers, the Chinese soldiers, they bowed down. And now is the chance with Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan said, now, destroy everything. And then the soldiers got up and they destroyed the entire Chinese army. And whoever was left, it was taken into the band of Genghis Khan. Either you fight with me or you die. So they had no other choice but to join the Genghis Khan's army. So that was the moment when Genghis Khan said that, okay, now I am your Khan. मैं ही तुम्हारा Khan हूँ. I am your leader. And then they started moving from one place to another. And the Great Wall of China, it was created to defend against these Mongols and the Huns. And these Central Asians, they started moving because they couldn't enter China. Because of the Great Wall of China, they started moving towards west. So Islamic countries started and they started destroying them from one end. And they kept on destroying. They went to Iran. At that point of time, there were some assassins. Okay? You could hire them, mercenaries. And there was this castle of mercenaries. They were trained to be mercenaries. You must have seen certain animes. For example, Hunter x Hunter, if there is this beautiful anime, their mercenaries are shown. So they take money and they go to kill. So they conquered those mercenaries They were called Hashashins at that point of time. They used to take hashish, nasha hota tha, theek hai? And hash they used to take, and because of that they were called Hashashins. And the present word assassins, it has been taken from those Hashashins. So they defeated them and they started moving towards west. They went to Khwarizm, they went to Samarkand. Now those Muslim kings, they started fleeing because Genghis Khan was moving in. Ab kya hua? In order to save themselves, they started moving towards India. And they realized that in India, in the northern plains, Iltutmish is the king. So probably Iltutmish is going to give them shelter because they are Muslim. So when they came to India, one king called Jalaluddin Mangabarni, he was known as Khwarizm Shah. Khwarizm is a place in Iran, and from Khwarizm he was coming, so he was called Khwarizm Shah. Genghis Khan was chasing him in order to kill him. So he thought that probably if he'll come to Iltutmish's empire, Iltutmish will fight against Genghis Khan. Iltutmish was very wise at this point of time. He understood the might of Mongols. At that point of time, they were very mobile and his army couldn't fight against them. He did not have that big an army. And he wanted to have control over them. And if Mongols would have entered the region, if they would have entered the cities, they would have massacred the civilians. So he wanted to protect the civilians also, because for a king, one of the main concerns was to protect the citizens. Even if the king is saying that I'm God, like shadow of God or whatever, I'm an avatar of Vishnu or whatever be the case, his personal luxuries are there. That's a different thing. But kings used to take care of their subjects. Kings used to, because whether it's for their personal motives or it's for their kingship or whatever you call. But those people, they were giving the revenue. It was the country. So whether you like your children or you don't like your children, if somebody is going to attack your children, you are going to get angry. Okay. So even if a king is exploiting his people, he would be like, these are my subjects, so I'm exploiting them. Nobody else has got the right to exploit them. Okay. So with this notion, kings never wanted their cities to be destroyed. They used to invest a lot in their cities. So when Mongols came towards India, Iltutmish refused to give shelter to Khwarizm Shah. And that's why he avoided that Mongol invasion that could have destroyed the entire region. Military conquest, established his control over Bengal and Bihar. So he went towards east and control over almost all the northern plains. Annexed Sindh and Multan into Delhi Sultanate. Before that, in Sindh and Multan, the Arabs were there, then Rajputs were there, so he defeated them and he got it under his control. He suppressed the Rajput revolts and recovered Ranthambore, Jalore, Ajmer, Gwalior, Chauhans. They had a stronghold there. Once again, Ranthambore, maybe Chauhans had reached there. So he went and he got the control and he suppressed the revolt. He did not annex those places. We will be discussing, we will go to Khaljiz, and then finally Ranthambore was defeated and captured. Then he led an unsuccessful expedition against Parmar of Malwa. He wanted to get into Malwa region because the soil was very fertile, black soil. But Parmars, he started the campaign, but Parmars defeated him. So he couldn't move forward. Then he was a great statesman also. He received a Mansur. Mansur was a letter from Khalifa, a letter of recognition from Khalifa, which bestowed him the title of Sultan of Hindustan. So at this point of time in 1229, the caliphate had changed. So earlier from Umayyad family, the Khalifa was there. Bani Umayyah ki Khilafat thi. And then that was destroyed, and then Abbasid Caliphate came. So he was there at this point of time. The Abbasi Khalifa was sitting there, and he had nothing to do with Iltutmish. You need to understand. But Iltutmish was very intelligent. He asked for that letter of consent from the Khalifa, so that he can tell the people that he has become the king on the, with the blessings of Khalifa, so that he can create this aura amongst the Muslim people that, he is the right king because the Khalifa is with him. Khalifa at that point of time, he was not only the political authority, but he was considered to be the religious authority also amongst the Sunni Muslims. He completed the construction of 3 stories of Qutub Minar at Delhi. So first story was constructed during the time of this Qutbuddin Aibak, and then 3 stories were created at the time of Iltutmish. Then after that, 1 story was again completed by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. It got destroyed in lightning, and then government of India rebuilt that final story. So So this is the tallest stone tower in India, 238 feet tower. It is very beautiful also. Then he built a magnificent mosque at Ajmer. He introduced the silver tanka and copper jeetal. Tanka and jeetal, they were 2 coins. ठीक है? तो कितना टका ऐसा जो word चलता है, that was from this coin. ठीक है? In Bangladesh the currency is called taka. Right now also you go to Bombay, the percentage is called taka. कि कितना टका पैसा बढ़ना है. ठीक है? So they are all money minded और टका में बात चलती है. ठीक है? Then the 2 basic coins were standard weight of, they both had the standard weight of 175 grams. So minting became very precise. Weights and measures were given a lot of importance. So this is tanka, silver coin. He also created a new class of ruling elite, which was called 40 powerful, with a 40 powerful military leader. It was called a Chahalgan. Chahalgan or Chahalgani or Chalis. Okay, Chalis means 40 in Hindi or Persian or Urdu, whatever. Chahalgani was the group of 40. This group of 40 was created by Iltutmish. The group of 40 was made by 40 elite slaves. By 40 elite slaves means it's not a personal army of Iltutmish. 40 elite slaves means 40 governors. So these 40, they were the advisors. Basically the prime ministers who were there, they used to advise Iltutmish. Ab yahan se 2 things he did. First of all, he recognized that these 40 are strong. He gave the same rank to these 40. Chahalgani matlab same rank. It means now one slave, one Mamluk cannot think that he is a better governor than the other one. He is a bigger governor than the other one. Also, because they were satisfied, the recognition was given, and they were all in front of his eyes, they couldn't conspire against Iltutmish. Yeah? So that way he made Chahalgani. Later we will see that Chahalgani will also get corrupt. Then he organized Iqtidari system, proper Iqtidari system. So he divided his empire into Iqtas. The state was called an Iqta, which were assigned to nobles and officers in lieu of salary. So Iqta was given to an officer in lieu of salary. Iqta was not hereditary. Okay? At this point of time. So salary were given for Iqtas, and the leader of that Iqta was called Iqtadar. Then came Razia Sultan. So after death of Iltutmish, his sons, they were not